Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Ford. Ford invites us tech geeks to join the conversation, submit ideas, and grab a Tech Geek badge at social.ford.com.
Welcome to All About Android, episode 77, recorded on Tuesday, September 18th. Your weekly source for all the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. 18th, right? I'm Eileen Rivera.
I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
All right, good.
Welcome.
We got the date.
Yes,
right.
we got that right. So that's a good place to start.
It's all downhill from here.
I never know what time. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what date it is ever.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry, everybody.
It's okay.
Tuesday, September 18th.
You nailed it.
Thank you very much. We have a guest in studio as
That's
well. Well,
right.
not in studio, sorry, on the show.
Well, kind of in
Via
studio as an avatar here. We have Russell Hawley, mobile editor for Geek.com. It's awesome to have you on the show, Russell. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks, Gara, for having me on.
Absolutely.
With video quality like that, he's practically in the studio.
I know.
We were talking about it pre-show. I'm amazed at his video connection. Verizon Fios, you're a lucky man. So...
right there, it blipped for a second if you missed it. So
we jinxed
as
you.
intended.
That was
fantastic.
Oh, man.
when it's important, it'll stream.
Okay, so this week we've got a lot of interesting stuff. I just wrote stuff.
I know.
Did you like that? I was
That's
like,
good. I mean, it's
well,
accurate. We do have things.
Yeah.
We have things and stuff to talk about that is all Android related.
Things and stuff and apps and products and releases
Oh my
and
God.
lawsuits and
We should just-
patents.
Why name them? Because we're going to name them during the show.
If we name them, then
Yeah.
we show a favorite. So really, we love everything.
So I've been showing. I've had some favorites, and I did put that at the top every once in a while. Like, ooh, and we're gonna talk about the Galaxy S3. Yeah, I mean, blatant favorite. Anyway, we should just jump into our news.
Do it. All right. Could get a little complicated, but I'll attempt to do my best here. First, some background. Google's Open Handset Alliance was created back in 2007 and is basically a means of getting all the hardware partners working with Android to agree to kind of certain terms that will help push the platform forward. Acer, the company Acer, joined the alliance in 2009, and not much has really happened with the alliance that we've heard of that's had a lot of press anyways in recent months. But flash forward to last week when Acer suddenly canceled a news conference that they were about to hold to announce their new Alioun mobile OS. It's an operating system partnered with Alibaba overseas. It's a cloud-based OS based on Android code. And I think what we're kind of realizing here is it's hard to put our fingers on exactly how much of the code is Android or, if it was just pulled from Android or whatever. But effectively, it's incompatible. In other words, it's a forked version. And, I mean, the Amazon Kindle is a forked version of Android. I like how I think Google was calling it incompatible. And that almost makes it sound broken, and maybe to a certain degree it is. But so basically, the hubbub surrounds the revelation that Google applied at least some pressure on Acer to discontinue their direction with the Alioun OS announcement. Essentially, as Acer is a member of the Open Handset Alliance, producing a version of the OS that is incompatible, as they say, goes against the terms. Therefore, if they plan on releasing this forked version of the OS, they would no longer be able to take part in the alliance,
which has gotten them so far this day. What has being in the alliance gotten them? What do they have to lose? Aside from Google support, of course.
Being a member of the alliance does give you some perks, right? It gives you, from what I understand, earlier access to some of the code. It gives you I don't know, Russell. What does it give you?
So there's 84 companies, I think, that make up the Open Handset Alliance, and they all pull together. These are OEMs and chip manufacturers and carriers and stuff like that. And one of the biggest reasons that they all come together is that they can offer each other kind of discounts, as it were, to create kind of a lower bill for the products for individual handsets. So the devices themselves are faster to market and they're less expensive to make.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. They also have access to things, and this is kind of another kind of growing part of this story, access to things in the OHS or OHA, such as Google's apps. You know, their apps are not necessarily open source. They're closed source. That's why if you're in the root, you know, and ROM kind of ecosphere or whatever, you're used to flashing a ROM and then finding a Google Apps package to flash, because Google doesn't necessarily allow ROM makers to distribute their ROM with the included apps. The apps aren't open source themselves, just the OS is. So Andy Rubin, actually, we might as well just go ahead and throw out the graphic. Andy Rubin took to Google Plus to put a word out to Alibaba's VP of International Corporate Affairs, as John Spellick. And Andy had this to say. Andy?
There
we go.